We are reviewing the newest record from the Novembers titled At the Beginning. And the first track off of this album, are we doing track by track? Did you take notes this time?
I did, yeah.
Excellent, excellent, yeah. Okay, the first track on here is Rainbow. What'd you think of this?
Yeah, Rainbow, I thought it was a good start to this album. I liked the sort of dreamy but grungy production that they had going,
Mm-hmm.
and I found the vocals pretty soothing. So yeah, overall, it was a good start. As far as the album art goes, I'm actually a fan. I do like the sort of marble they have going.
Oh, the colored marble.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, the colored marble. Yeah, yeah, yeah. It kind of looks like Jupiter. The water I wasn't so crazy about. Like I liked how it was like 2/3 sky, 1/3 water, but I just wish they'd chosen like a different shot of water, or just like some other kind of water. But yeah, it was cool art.
Cool. So, what would you rate the album cover?
Uh, Album cover, I'd give it like a. I can't calculate out of 30. Probably like a 6.
Cool. So I agree. I thought this was a great start to the album. I really like the trickling drum patterns. I do like the vocals, like you said on here. It's very calm amongst this like aggressive open scenery that the instrumental portrays. I can really get lost in the soundscape on this track. So yeah, I thought it was a great opener. Moving on is Baratokomodo. No wait, Baratokodomo.
Yeah, where'd you find the name for this one? I literally, when I was writing names for this one, I just like squiggled because I can't write in,
Japanese.
in those characters.
I'm not sure if it's Japanese. It is like an Eastern band. Nothing. I listened through it through like a streaming service. I thought that's what it was called, but whatever.
Okay, weird.
Uh, I really like this one. I will admit I had like musical deja vu when I first listened to the album because when it was on, I swear I was listening to the opener again because they're kind of similar. But like upon my second listen, I noticed like the differences in the production, like the tempo, and like the electric underlings underneath the production. Again, I think the vocals are great, and the soundscape here is like colorfully bleak in a weird way. I really liked it.
Musical deja vu in a good or bad way?
I mean, I'm not really using that to like say it was good or bad. It was just more like I was listening to it, like, am I listening to the first song again? I had to like triple check. Yeah, that's what I mean.
Yeah, I think you pretty much hit the nail on the head for me. I thought it was a darker instrumental than the first song, but it was pretty similar. I also liked how they worked the guitar in. I don't remember if it was super subtle, but I definitely remember the guitar from that track.
Mm-hmm. Cool. The next one is RIKAISHA. I believe that's what it's named, which is the third track on the album. What do you think of this?
Yeah, dude, this one was a horrific trip through Japanese hell. It was awesome, but it was also terrifying.
Mm-hmm.
I closed my eyes while I was listening to it, and all I could picture were all of the horrible folk tales that my brother would tell me, like horrible Japanese folk tales about just like monstrous demons like chasing you in the night or scratching at your windows. Like Grudge style girls with super long black hair coming out of TVs or chasing you through woods. It was it was pretty horrific.
Shout out to my girl Hisako from Killer Instinct.
Hell yeah, baby.
Yeah, I agree with you. I love like the grungy gnashing chords. It's kind of like a hardcore like electro track, something like I would hear from like maybe Guilty Gear or something. The progression is pretty nice. It has like these bits of segmentation, and I also like how the track kind of closes with like a soft finish after like 3 minutes of like head pounding hell. It was really cool. Moving on to the next one is Dead Heaven. What do you think about this one?
Yeah, this one. So it starts with sort of that electronic kind of. I say Daft Punk, but it doesn't really sound like Daft Punk. But you get what I mean. Just kind of like that electronic beat style. And then it gets to like this shrieking, angry, but kind of dope. I don't know if it was the chorus or verse. But just like a very angry track. There is a nice reprieve that does come in at the end.
Mm.
But yeah, I think it definitely like fit in right after. I don't know how to pronounce it, RIKAISHA.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, I like this one too.
Yeah, it does carry. It does follow very nicely. It kind of has like a dark, like scream punk sound to it. The segues to like from one verse to another are a bit predictable in my opinion. Something I would hear from other like bands, but yeah, I agree with you. The screams on this one are like brutal as hell. It's like someone trying to like rapidly escape a cage by just shaking the hell out of it before it breaks. I really liked it. Okay, the next one is Vanishing Point, which is this one.
Yeah, so by Vanishing Point, I felt like this album really feels like a field trip to Japanese Abu Ghraib or a visit to like a CIA black site that was just for some god awful reason outsourced to the Japanese.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's a good album, but it's like scary. It's like unsettling. Or unsettling isn't the right word. I think the adjective you used, gnashing, is
Yeah.
probably the best way to put it. Um, but yeah, Vanishing Point, it has a discordant. Vanishing Point in particular, it has a discordant start, and I think the vocals were a bigger focus. They have a good. I don't know if it's one or multiple singers, but it's a good voice for sure.
Yeah.
Both when they're screaming and then also when they're just singing. Like I do kind of like both.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, no, I like this track too. I think it was a little different from the last two ones. It felt more again like that blend of the dreamy kind of grungy production that we heard in the first or second tracks.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think I don't remember if it was Dead Heaven or Vanishing Point, but one of those I thought would be a pretty good workout track.
Yeah, so after like a couple of heavy tracks, we have like a nice sonic change of direction here in terms of like tone. There are like these key rhythms that are very sweet. There are some interesting Eastern string embellishments, and I like the soaring vocals, like you said, like they're just naturally singing. The way they're mixed really sounds like the track has this like aerodynamicism that I really liked. It was also really addicting to listen to because I love the drums on here. It's like it's very simple but like effective. Like it had me banging my head the entire time the track was playing. So yeah, I really liked it. The next one I believe is Rauken. What do you think of this one?
Yeah, man, it feels like we're back to the scariness. It feels like we're summoning a Japanese demon or like the ghost of Hideki Tojo. Uh, it wasn't my favorite track.
I don't think Tojo was Japanese. Hold on, I gotta check that. Hold on.
Put
Hideki
money on it,
Tojo.
$100 right now.
I don't have $100.
100, whatever the Japanese currency is.
Okay, he was. Wait. Okay, I'm stupid. Oh, I hate Chris so much. He told me he was Korean.
Oh man. He knew. He definitely knew too.
Yeah.
He told you Tojo was Korean. Okay. Yeah, no, this track wasn't really my favorite. I think the things that it was going for, I just appreciated more in those earlier tracks like RIKAISHA and Dead Heaven. But this one didn't do too much for me.
I think I'm on the contrary point on that one. I really like this one. There's like these jangling bells and like these like watery electronics in the background, so it does seem like it's more of like an earthly kind of elemental song. Like I don't want to reference the Last Airbender, so I'm not going to. But yeah, there's like a really cool.
You already did, dude. Just go all the way.
Prince Zuko, have some boba because you're epic. Yeah, but like there's this really cool like orchestral build up with like the bustling, pulsating drums. The entire song has this like very clear direction with some minute progressions and some very interesting vocal harmonies amongst the vocals. So I thought it was really good actually. I really enjoyed it. The next track on here is New York. What do you think of this one?
Yeah, this one, it didn't have enough like Italians yelling, and it didn't really convey the smell of piss very well. So no, this track wasn't. It didn't really capture New York for me.
Go on.
Yeah, no, I didn't really like it that much.
You didn't like it? Okay.
Yeah, it was a little more upbeat, but no, I didn't like this one too much.
Oh yeah, I actually really enjoyed it. I like the pinging hits of keys. I really like the digital / like urban jungle hybrid sound they go for on here. It's very like metropolitan in a way. There are also some interesting like whistling passages that were pretty catchy, and I like the kind of like lackadaisical kind of swaggerish vocals on here. They're kind of like bouncing off each other rapidly. Before they get into it with like some semi screaming later in the track, like I said, it has a nice swagger to it, and I thought it was great. I think so far I was really impressed with how consistent I was, or I was really impressed by how consistent the record was. Is that Hideki Tojo?
Yeah, we finally summoned him.
All right, the next
Yeah,
one.
Korean.
The next one is Hamlet Machine. I'll probably kick this one off. This is probably my least favorite on the album. The song like kicks off with this like revving riff, and it's another like noisy punkish kind of sound to it, but didn't do a whole lot for me. I wasn't really into the brash instrumental, and the vocal melodies and performances just felt, I wouldn't say complacent, but like a bit maybe uninspired for my taste. It kind of just sounded like they were ripping themselves off because they've done this sound way better on the album already. So yeah, that's my thoughts on it. What about you?
Yeah, I think I agree with what you said. I honestly didn't take any notes for this song or even the last song. I think the big part for me about this album was that I really enjoyed the first half, especially those darker tracks. They really struck me in a way that, not many of the other tracks from this album really did. So, I mean, I do appreciate that they showed that they're able to do kind of more upbeat tracks like New York, but it wasn't really what I was expecting from the album once we kind of got to the end, and I just didn't really enjoy the last couple songs as much as I did the first few on the album. Yeah, I don't really have anything to add other than what you've already said about this track in particular, though.
Okay, and we're moving on to the finisher, or not the finisher, the final track on the album, titled oh my god, AKEHANRETAMADO. I hope I didn't butcher that. You already said like you didn't take notes on it because you just weren't that interested in it.
So actually the last one, I think it felt a little more like a love song or like a ballad or something like that. So I did like that about the track, but it still was very different from like the darker ones we heard earlier.
Okay, so you were more entranced with like the darker, like kind of grungier songs then.
Yeah, captivated by those. I thought the final song was okay, but I didn't take any specific notes on it.
Okay, yeah, I actually really liked it. I thought it was a great way to end off the album. I love like the serene synth jazz club ender it had going for it. The bass line is really smooth. It's complemented very well with these pianos and synthetic embellishments. It's like a slow dance song, like you said. I think it was a really fitting end to the album, mostly because in the first half we are emphasizing a lot of these like grand, open, dark sounds, and on the latter half of the album, while it can have like some pacing issues, it really has more of an upbeat and much more like I don't know, modern sound to it, as opposed like to the other ones sounding like they were more trying to capture the essence of a certain era or a certain feeling. So yeah, I thought the atmosphere on this one was incredible. I thought it was a great ender, and that leads us into overall and rating. What do you think overall on the album? I know you already said what you like, the outline of what you said, but like if you want to go deeper in with it.
Right. Yeah. I think I pretty much already covered it. I was very captivated by the dark production, the shrieking, the hellish feel, the gnashing, as you put it, that was on this album, specifically in Dead Heaven and RIKAISHA. I think they did well in the first half of the album. Like I said before, I like their sort of dreamy yet grungy production. I think the vocalist does a good job, both when they're shrieking their like lungs out and when they're just singing.
Yeah, a nice duality in my opinion. I think it doesn't ever sound like forced or anything. It sounds natural.
Right, yeah. So I think for me overall, the album, I would give it an 18 out of 30. I think it's definitely like better than average. Like I do like it, but I don't think it's enough for me to really put it up there with like a bunch of albums that I really enjoy.
Oh, interesting. I think for me, I really appreciated the sonic diversity of this album. There's a lot of noise rock, a lot of industrial rock, punk, city jazz, digital or electronica. Really, I think the dishes or the very oh my god, I can't speak. The variety amongst the track list was very welcome to me because I'm an absolute sucker for albums that have very different sounding songs, but don't ever feel like they're going out of place or feeling like it's just it doesn't fit in with the theme of the album. I think that's because I think early on the pacing of this album is fantastic because you hear all these elements that are going to be flourished in different ways. So like on the first track, you do hear like this very this kind of grand bombastic opening that feels, I mean, larger than life, and you hear the vocalists incredible performances, and I think that translates well to the other tracks. It never feels out of place, like I said. So I think for me, I really enjoyed it. It's definitely one of my favorites of the year. I'd probably give this one like I think about a 9. I really enjoyed it. I think
Word.
on my first listen, I wasn't that into it. Maybe because I wasn't paying attention as much, or I was kind of distracted. Because usually when I listen to albums, first listen, I'm doing something, I'll listen to it. Second one is usually when I just sit down, listen to it, and then write my thoughts on it. So on my second listen, I was actually blown away by what I heard. So yeah, I give it a 9. You gave it an 18, I believe.
Yes, sir.
Cool, yeah. Thank you for watching this review. We will see you next time.